Hello, class. How are y'all doing today? I should say at the start, Goose looks a little different here. This is my parents' dog, Nutmeg. We're dog sitting. Goose is right there. They're chilling together. So if you're wondering who that is, that's Nutmeg, and we love her, and she loves you. All right, let's move on. Anyways, over the past year or so, I just have not been able to escape Ariana Grande. Seriously, she's been following me everywhere. Now, to be fair, as an enjoyer of pop music and celebrity drama, she's always been on my radar to some extent, but this year in particular, Ariana Grande has just been at the forefront of my mind and most celebrity gossip magazines.
Hellish feeling with watching people misunderstand the people you love.
Ariana Grande seemingly addresses the media attention around her romance with Ethan Slater.
On July 17th, E! News confirmed that Ariana and Dalton were headed for divorce after 2 years of marriage.
This term, not a girl's girl, let's unpack that, and let's unpack that it's being used against, like, the cutest, sweetest Ariana Grande?
And in classic me fashion, now that everyone else has come out with their think pieces discussing Ariana Grande's recent scandals, the world has begun moving on from this situation, I've decided no, we need to bring it back and look through all the ups and downs of Ariana's career to see how we got here. Shall we begin? Real quick, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Trainwell, formerly known as CoPilot. Something about me that I don't get to talk about on this channel is I love running. But if there's one big aspect of my running training, my running goals that I neglect the most, it is absolutely my strength training days. And that is why I was so excited to work with today's sponsor, Trainwell. If you're not familiar, Trainwell is an app that sets you up with a personal trainer. Mine is Brooke. We love Brooke. Your Trainwell trainer sets up customized, guided workouts based on your goals, your schedule, and any injuries you need to account for. So you don't need to have access to a gym or even weights to be able to do this. One of the issues I have with a lot of preset workouts is a lot of them incorporate really intense ab exercises, and I can't do them. So that was something I was able to talk about specifically with Brooke and incorporate into my workouts.
But then also maybe working to strengthen that, obviously even the stability, not just like the core, right? But all those little stabilizer muscles that go into that too. Because I always tell people your trunk or your core, in the sense like the powerhouse of the body, right? My back, my core, like this is what keeps me going in a sense. So yes, something to definitely keep in mind. But again, if anything's ever not working, just tell me so we can adjust, and I can also then find your baseline.
So when I started my workouts, Brooke wasn't having me do like 10 million crunches, but she was incorporating things that would challenge me. Yes, a 30-second plank is challenging to me, and not having to actually plan my workouts, just having it all set up for me has just been so helpful in terms of actually pushing myself and getting myself doing it regularly. You can click my Trainwell link and get 14 days free with your very own personal trainer. Ariana Grande was born on June 26, 1993 in Boca Raton, Florida, which makes us only one day and, well, a couple years away from being birthday twins. Ariana's parents are Edward Butera, a graphic designer, and Joan Grande, the CEO of Hose McCann Communications, which is described online as a marine communications equipment company. So I think like her mom talks to dolphins or something. I don't know. I didn't look too deeply into it. But it is always the most niche sounding businesses that produce just the most absurdly wealthy people. Because let me tell you, Ariana grew up in a different tax bracket. Growing up, Ariana and her equally iconic half-brother Frankie went to Pinecrest Preparatory School, which today costs 3 times my state college tuition to attend. And we're skipping ahead a little bit, but as a kid, I vividly remember watching her house tour video that she made while she was in her Victorious days. So yeah, she did have some Nickelodeon money at this point, but they lived in Francis Ford Coppola's old home. Like, up until that point in my life, I thought my pink zebra-themed bedroom was like the height of luxury, but turns out that was not the case. When Ariana was just 8 years old, her parents divorced, and afterwards she spent most of her time with her mom and Frankie in New York. where she quickly fell in love with Broadway. And after Gloria Estefan complimented Ariana at a karaoke lounge on a cruise, Ariana began singing in local productions like Annie and the... I really want to know how the kid who played the dog in this production of Annie is doing. They put their heart and soul into this role. But Ariana's childhood at least seemed relatively normal and quiet. The strongest evidence supporting that are the countless iMovie lip sync videos and skits she filmed pre-fame that are still up on her official channel.
Hi, I'm Hara Ludson.
And I'm Michael Jillian.
And welcome to your total 5-minute body total workout. Our first workout is called the ball exchanger.
You get
Stars, they're just like us. But once Ariana was a teenager, she decided that she was really going to pursue a Broadway career. Together with her best friend Erin Simon Gross, Ariana auditioned for her first Broadway musical, 13, the Musical. This musical is, I believe, the only Broadway production to entirely star teenagers, which, let me tell you, is a wild sight to see when you're used to 30-year-old Ben Platt, son of Mark Platt, Naruto running his way through a high school role. Honestly, Ben Platt's still got a good 10 more years of Evan Hansen high school fun. Ariana and Erin both landed roles in the show, and it was there that Ariana would meet her other co-star and future bestie, Liz Gillies. Both Ariana and Liz are immediate standouts from this production, and although most of the teenagers were recast partway through, Ariana and Liz stayed on with both of their roles. And while Ariana and Liz were performing on Broadway, they both auditioned for an up-and-coming Nickelodeon show, Victorious, which is very Rachel Berry coded of them. And of course, they both landed roles. We'll get into this later, but the perception of Victorious as a kid watching it for the first time, and for a long time the nostalgia of looking back on the show, it's very different from how we might think of it now, considering the Quiet on Set documentary and all of the allegations of wrongdoing on Nickelodeon sets, and we will get to that. But for now, let's just talk about the show as it was previously perceived. Victorious was made in this very special era of Nickelodeon where every children's show was trying to replicate the success of either Hannah Montana or iCarly, and Victorious had the genius idea to literally just slap those two shows together. The show was about Tori Vega, a student at a performing arts school, and her wacky adventures with her friends, including Kat Valentine, played by Ariana Grande.
Okay, what if, like, a farmer planted a lobster and a potato in the same hole? Maybe it would grow a lobtato.
Yes, Kat. A lobtato would grow. I'll tell the farmers.
Since the show already had a lot of brunettes, Dan Schneider asked Ariana if they could dye her hair bright red for the show, to which she agreed. And since Kat was also this crazy, ditzy character, Ariana also had a much higher speaking voice for this role.
I don't laugh like that.
Puppy's wearing sunglasses.
But since Ariana wasn't really famous before this show, a lot of people just assumed that this cat persona was Ariana Grande. I mean, her fans at this time were all children, so I guess you can't blame them for making that assumption. But let's be clear, she was an actor, dedicated to her craft. Now, despite this being a very musical show, Ariana does not sing a whole lot on it. I do, however, vividly remember when her and Liz Gillies performed Give It Up at the end of season 1. And I was just like, hold on, that tiny person has been able to sing like that this whole time? They could have just made the entire show Ariana at a karaoke bar, and I would have been sad. That's not to say I wasn't also impressed with everyone else's vocals. After all, I think they all sing. Take a Hint by Victoria Justice and Liz Gillies. Believe it or not, my queer awakening. But one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of my generation is why was this show canceled? And how can we make this all Victoria Justice's fault? The year 2012. Despite Victorious winning the favorite TV show at the Kids' Choice Awards, it was announced that the show would not be getting 4 seasons as originally planned. Instead, the 3rd season, which had already been filmed, would be released in 2 parts as season 3 and season 4. In addition, Ariana was set to star in a spin-off show called Sam and Cat with iCarly star Jeanette McCurdy. Needless to say, This was devastating. Victoria's fans had a lot of feelings, upset, anger, and they needed someone to blame for this, preferably a teenage girl with zero executive authority over Nickelodeon production. Ariana, what are you doing here? And why are you not filming a proper Victorious season 4? See, since Ariana was getting her own spin-off, Sam and Cat, Ariana was the one initially getting a lot of fans blaming her for the Victorious cancellation. After the final episode of Victorious aired, a digital angry mob of fans took to Ariana's Ask FM demanding answers. Y'all remember bullying yourself on Ask FM? Simpler times. Although we don't have this first part of the conversation, one anonymous question asker says, actually, nobody said that. And even if they did, this is different because Sam and Cat ruined Victorious. All those other shows had closure. Victorious didn't have closure because of Sam and Cat, no matter what you people, you and Dan, say. You're obviously just trying to protect yourselves from the hate. First of all, lumping Ariana Grande in with actual executive producer and famed pervert Dan Schneider is wild, but alas, Ariana responded to this, saying, "Sweetheart, the only reason Victorious ended is because one girl didn't want to do it. She chose to do a solo tour instead of a cast tour. If we had done a cast tour, Nickelodeon would have ordered another season of Victorious while Sam and Cat filmed simultaneously, but she chose otherwise. I'm tired of this BS." Well, even though they all sing, it was very obvious which Victorious cast member was about to embark on a solo tour, and that of course was Miss Victoria Justice. But you see, they don't call her Victoria Injustice. And she was not going to go down without a fight. Yes, I was on a lot of cold medicine when I wrote that line, and I'm not going to leave it out. It's called authenticity. Victoria responded on her Twitter, some people would throw someone that they consider a friend under the bus just to make themselves look good. Hashtag stop being a phony. Hashtag if they only knew. To which Ariana replied, "You just can't hide from the truth." The way absolutely no petty drama was handled offline in 2013, you just don't get messy back and forth like this anymore, and it's a real shame. However, I do think it's worth noting that some people online have suggested that this Ask FM and tweets were photoshopped. And when I looked into that myself, I do actually think that might be possible. There are articles online discussing this Ask FM and these tweets, albeit most are on pretty obscure websites. Typically, I've found as someone who Googles a lot of deleted tweets. Even when tweets have been deleted, you can usually find at least one article posted before that tweet was deleted with a hyperlink you can then verify on the Wayback Machine. Or you would at least expect articles to use different screenshots, but every website I've ever seen just uses these same blurry images. Also, Ariana and Victoria have never addressed this Ask FM or these tweets in any interviews about their supposed feud, but they have addressed other public information, which we'll get into. So although it is perhaps more fun to imagine this dramatic back and forth between Ariana and Victoria, take this with a big grain of 2013 screenshot salt. What we do know for sure, however, is that in June of 2013, Ariana is on the cover of 17 magazine in a look I simply cannot defend. In the cover article, Ariana says, "I worked with someone who told me they'd never like me, but for some reason, I just felt like I needed her approval, so I started changing myself to please her. It made me stop being social and friendly. I was so unhappy." Even though Ariana didn't name any names here, fans immediately suspect again that this is about Victoria and begin absolutely bombarding this poor woman. Even though Ariana texted Victoria privately to say, "Hey girl, this wasn't about you," and even said publicly multiple times that it wasn't about Victoria Justice and to leave Victoria Justice alone, the damage was already done. So now for the next decade, Victoria Justice is forced in every interview to address whether her and Ariana Grande had beef when they were teenagers. The way I saw dozens of articles titled something like "Victoria Justice finally breaking her silence on Ariana Grande," all from different years, as if Victoria hasn't answered this exact question the same way for years. Because yes, we as a society did slowly move on from the Victorious cancellation. But then, randomly, as the internet does, we decided to bring this drama right back around. In April of 2010, Popstar uploaded a 1.5-minute clip interviewing Daniel Monet, Victoria Justice, Liz Gillies, and Ariana Grande. Now, it is important to know that this was filmed right when the show started. Liz Gillies and Ariana Grande are already best friends from their time on Broadway, but they barely know Victoria and Danielle. Victoria and Danielle barely know each other, and now they all have to spitball fun facts about each other and act like they're besties to promote the show, because that's their job. Inevitably, the fun facts Ariana and Liz give about each other are much more specific than the ones Danielle or Victoria say about each other, which, if you don't know the history, kind of makes it seem like there's tension in the group when there really isn't. But alas, Liz Gillies says that one thing you don't know about Ariana Grande is that she's always singing. Whatever she's doing, she's always singing.
One thing you don't know about Ariana Grande is that she literally sings everything. Like, she's starting to forget how to talk in her own voice because she sings everything. And it's a good thing because she's a beautiful voice, but it's awesome. She sings absolutely everything. She never stops.
To which Danielle says, you know what, Liz? You're always singing too.
That's so true, Liz. You sing a lot too.
And in that moment, Victoria Justice states the obvious. Hey man, we're all singers in a musical show.
Like, especially during rehearsal. We all sing. Yeah, I guess that's true. I sing the weirder things. Yeah, I think. I sing.
And is she wrong? I fear this clip and the name Ariana Grande will forever haunt Miss Victoria Justice. And for what? For one, I think people really like to conflate the character Tori Vega, who in retrospect was a pretty entitled, self-absorbed main character, and assume Victoria Justice herself is the same way and acts like the main character around everyone else when Victoria was playing a character. We don't have a real reason to assume that. And of course, isn't it ironic that the goofy side character of this random Nickelodeon show ended up becoming one of the most iconic pop stars of our generation and not the protagonist who was set up to have a fairly decent pop career? Surely Victoria Justice, must be seething in a dark corner somewhere because after all, don't we all sing? Even though Victoria Justice and Ariana Grande aren't besties the way like Ariana and Liz are, they have gone out of their way to publicly support each other plenty of times. Even though they don't have to. They were co-workers a decade ago. Time after time, they've both said that there is absolutely no drama between them. And even if that wasn't the case, even if they did fight, honestly, who cares if they didn't get along when they were teenagers working in what we now know was an incredibly toxic work environment. Please leave Victoria Justice alone. Some of y'all owe her an apology. But it turns out that no amount of cyberbullying Victoria Justice or Ariana Grande could revive Victorious. Sad but true. So instead, we as a society were forced to move on to its follow-up, Sam and Cat. iCarly and Victorious were unquestionably some of the most iconic and popular Nickelodeon sitcoms we would ever have. And Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande were easily two of the strongest characters on their respective show. So surely if we combined the star power of these two entities, these two women, the universe would collapse and we'd get the best tween sitcom ever, right? Now, to be fair, I was definitely too cool and too old at this point to care about Nickelodeon. I was more of a Degrassi Nick at Night girly at this point in time, but from the bits I did see of Sam and Cat, I knew the show was not in it for the long haul. See, the thing about both Sam and Cat's character on their original shows is that they were the goofy sidekick. Sam and Cat are drastically different characters, but functionally, Sam and Cat play the same sitcom role. But the thing is, every goofy sidekick needs a straight man. Oh god. Not me saying they need a straight man. An audience self-insert, a Victoria Justice, a Miranda Cosgrove to bounce the chaos off of. Otherwise, these Dan Schneider productions have a tendency to just devolve into a bad trip for 23 minutes. So from a writing perspective, I don't know how Nickelodeon saw this show going the distance. Although let's be real, the downfall of Sam and Cat really has nothing to do with its lack of quality. I mean, nonsensical plot lines and thinly veiled fetish content was just par for the course at Nickelodeon Studios at that time. No, Sam and Cat was doomed from the start because Ariana Grande wasn't just the girl with red hair who played Cat on Victorious anymore. She was Ariana Grande, with the capital Ariana Grande. And to understand that, we need to rewind a bit because this era was also an insane time for Ariana's music career. Ariana did technically debut her solo career during Victorious with the single Hearts Up. Every aspect of this song jail. This ratty ponytail on the album art, the way the music video lighting drastically changes from cloudy to sunny in between close-ups because they clearly shot this over multiple days and couldn't even be bothered to color correct it. The song samples What's Up by the Four Non-Blondes. Because tweens love that. The official music video is still up on Ariana's official YouTube channel, and it has a glitch 2 minutes in. Honestly, that is the superior version of the music video. I'm not the only one who's not a fan of this debut. Ariana herself has been very vocal about her disdain for this song. In an interview with Rolling Stone in 2014, Ariana said that Put Your Hearts Up was geared towards kids and felt so inauthentic and fake. That was the worst moment of my life. For the video, they gave me a bad spray tan and put me in a princess dress and had me frolic around the street. The whole thing was straight out of hell. I still have nightmares about it, and I made them hide it on my Vivo page. Although she has since walked back her total hatred for this song, it's clear that this song is not representative of the music Ariana wanted to make. Actually, not unlike Madison Beer, when Ariana first began speaking to music execs, she said that she wanted to make an R&B album, and they said, "You're 14. No." So they stuck her with this bubblegum pop song very reminiscent of her character on Victorious. It's actually believed that there was an entire album set to follow this song, including an unreleased collab with Nick Jonas, but we don't know for sure. But by 2013, Ariana was ready to make her full, proper debut the way she wanted, and that she did with the release of Yours Truly. This album debuted at #1 on the Hot 100, and it is for good reason. I mean, The Way, Honeymoon Avenue, they're bops. I know it. The world knows it. And just like that, Ariana was on the trajectory for major mainstream success, which could make it kind of difficult to film a children's sitcom on the side. Jeanette McCurdy, who played Sam, would later write in her memoir that she had a very difficult time on set, in part because Ariana was allowed to be a famous pop star and change the show's filming around her schedule. Meanwhile, Jeanette was still under the complete control of Nickelodeon. There's this one episode of Sam and Cat where Ariana's character is just in a box the entire episode, and that was done just to accommodate Ariana doing a big music performance instead of being on set filming. Jeanette in her memoir wrote, "Ariana misses work in pursuit of her music career while I act with a box. I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed at her. Jealous of her, for a few reasons. So now every time she misses work, it feels like a personal attack. From that moment on, I didn't like her. I couldn't like her." And to add insult to injury, Ariana won Best Actress at the Kids' Choice Award over Jeanette, even from a box. Meanwhile, Jeanette has had to turn down multiple other projects specifically because Nickelodeon refused to write Jeanette off for an episode or work around that schedule. To be clear, I don't think this is Ariana's fault that the network is screwing Jeanette over, but tension is kind of inevitable in that situation. Rumors are already spiraling that Ariana and Jeanette do not get along when reports come out alleging that Ariana is being paid a significantly higher salary for her role as Kat than Jeanette for her role as Sam. We of course don't know if that's true, but Jeanette did not attend the Kids' Choice Awards after this news broke. Instead, Jeanette made a statement on Twitter writing, "A lot of you guys are asking why I didn't attend the KCAs. I was put in an uncomfortable, compromising, unfair situation. Many of you have guessed what it is, and I had to look out for me. I chose to not go because sticking up for what is right and what is fair is what my mom taught me is always the most important thing." At the time, Ariana denied these pay gap rumors, stating, "Jeanette and I agreed upfront that we would be treated equally on this show in all regards, as we should be considering we each work just as hard as the other on this show. The rumors circulating about our contracts and our salary not being equal are absolutely ridiculous and false. I don't know who's putting these idiotic quotes out there, but I thought I'd straighten it out and try to end this nonsense." Yeah, Sam and Cat was put on hiatus after this. I guess could still come back, maybe. Of course, I'm sure the show wasn't axed just because of the tension between these two. Jeanette and Ariana were clearly both ready to move on and do their own things outside of Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon itself was experimenting with new and worse sitcoms that didn't really align with Sam and Cat anyways. I think they were all ready to move on at that point, but that didn't stop Jeanette from being just a little messy in 2014. At that time, Jeanette had a web series called What's Next for Sarah, where she introduced this character named Gloriana.
So, how have you been? What have you been up to now that your show's been canceled? That's a super bummer, right?
Yeah, it sucks. I've just been...
Anyway, I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, except not like a chicken because I'm vegan, obvi.
Oh, you're vegan?
Oh my god, I didn't tell you. It's like the biggest change in my life. It's like the best thing that's ever happened to me. I am so happy. Like, I'm doing so well. I have never been better.
Wonder who that might be referencing. And because we can't have a celebrity video without him, Perez Hilton tweeted, "Can I be in the next video as Gloriana's obnoxious gay brother?" To which Jeanette replied, "Oh my god, yes. Or Gloriana's boyfriend who gets cheated on 8 times." As much as I'd love to chalk this up to young actors being a little messy, the story we now know is much more complicated and serious. I'm sure a lot of you by this point are familiar with Jeanette's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, and the documentary series Quiet on Set, which both have devastating and heavy revelations that we unfortunately can't fully unpack here. But to summarize, there are a lot of former child actors, Jeanette included, who have spoken out about sexual harassment, verbal and emotional abuse, and much more awful things on the set of these Nickelodeon shows led by Dan Schneider. Jeanette was being actively abused. Meanwhile, she saw who she thought was her carefree co-star, and of course, she felt resentment. The quotes I read earlier from Jeanette's memoir are often cherry-picked to either paint Ariana as some really entitled person who didn't care about what Jeanette was going through, or suggest that Jeanette and Ariana have some sort of deep ongoing feud to this day. But I think Jeanette in that memoir is very clearly grappling with much more serious issues than Ariana's pop career, and Jeanette also says that she regrets directing her anger at Ariana in that situation. Jeanette's feelings at that time were completely understandable, but I think it would be really reductive to chalk it up to a petty feud. Not to mention, we in hindsight can see Ariana herself was sexualized and put in an unfair position by Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider as well. Ariana herself has not spoken about any specific experiences, so I don't want to imply something I don't know, but it's very easy to find clips from Victorious, or more often the Victorious web series, that have an adult undertone, and that's really putting it lightly. Just out of respect for Ariana, I'm not going to put them in here, but they're very easily accessible if you don't know what I'm referring to. It is disturbing to think about how many adults were there filming these things, editing them, approving them. I mean, it's indefensible. Although Ariana has not named the Quiet on Set series or Dan Schneider, she did recently speak about how she's had to recontextualize this era of her life.
Speaking specifically about our show, I think that was something that we were convinced was like the cool thing about us, is that like we pushed the envelope with our humor, and the innuendos were like, we were told and convinced as well that it was like the cool differentiation. And I don't know, I think it just all happened so quickly, and now looking back on some of the clips, I'm like, that's damn, like really? And shit, like my daughter, you know, sorry to, you know, I just, you think about it, it's like if I had a daughter, it's like, and the
craziest part of that is like how many people have to approve it. Like when you start working in television,
how many adults? So many
45 adults at least.
So many adults approved that. So that's, it's like there's no spirit of responsibility towards children.
Right.
There's a spirit of like a bottom line, a financial bottom line. You know?
There's a bottom line. And then the things that weren't approved for the network were snuck onto like our website or whatever it was. And that is another discovery. But going into it, I guess I'm upset.
Simply put, none of these teenagers should have been put in these compromising positions, and it's criminal that they were. And that is Ariana's time on Nickelodeon. Certainly more complicated and heavy than I thought it was growing up, but again, I don't want anyone speculating about what Ariana may have experienced or her full feelings on it. She said as much as I think she wants out there on the topic, and that's 100% her prerogative. So on a lighter note, let's talk about some YouTube boy groups we haven't thought about in years. The Janoskians were basically like MagCon boys, Australian edition. They were wildly popular with young teenage girls, and their content consisted mostly of being menaces in public, making misogynistic jokes, and writing surprisingly catchy songs. Like, not good songs, but songs that have been stuck in my head for a decade. Best friend, you are my fucking best friend. Honestly, this is the best night ever. Poetry. In 2012, one of the Janoskians, Jay Brooks, and his brother Luke started publicly thirsting for Ariana, and this became like a running bit for the Janoskians where Luke and Jay would fight over who should get to date Ariana. It's basically like the worst possible version of challengers. Although Luke was supposedly just pretending to like Ariana, Jay was swinging hard and posted a Keek video with 5 reasons why Ariana should date him.
Hey Ariana, just thought I'd come up with 5 quick reasons why we're perfect for each other. Number 1, I'm a good cook and I can cook you a good meal. I specialize in toast, so I know you like that. Number 2, your name is Grande and my heart is grandissimo for you.
And I love the 2013 fashion audacity of wearing a beanie and a bow tie simultaneously.
Number 4, I'm wearing a bow tie. Number 5.
The perfect blend of formal and casual. But never doubt the power of teenage girls because they got hashtag Jay versus Luke for Ariana trending worldwide to the point where Ariana's mom found it. Ariana's mom, apparently, thought they were really funny. And I have to know, what video was Joan Grande watching? But Miss Joan Grande said, "Hey, Ariana, these Australian boys are really funny and successful. You should give them a chance." So Ariana slid into Jay's DMs and the two started talking. Despite living halfway across the world from each other, they made their relationship official on October 7th, 2012. In December of 2012, they finally meet in person.
Are you excited?
Oh, shit. Are you okay? Oh my god. Are you okay?
And I love that we have this footage courtesy of Frankie Grande, giving us the historic archive we need. While they're together, they film YouTube videos, and she takes him to see her favorite musical, Wicked. They're having a great old time, but eventually, Jay has to go back to Australia. Then in February of 2013, Ariana's team reports that they have broken up because of the long distance. But forget all about that because in March of 2013, they are back and stronger than ever. Just in time for Ariana to kiss Mac Miller in her music video for The Way. Now, supposedly they weren't originally going to kiss, but the director thought it would complete the video. Or perhaps he was just feeling a little messy. I mean, we don't know. But Ariana and Mac were feeling the vibe. They're professionals. They're gonna make it happen. Of course, though, Janoskian fans are very confused and upset when they see this. Is Ariana cheating on our collective internet boyfriend? The audacity! But don't worry, guys. Jay is totally cool with it. It's just a music video. And I mean, why would he be jealous of Mac Miller? He's a Janoskian, guys. On August 6th, Jay posts his 10-month anniversary celebration on his Instagram saying how much he loves Ariana. But just 1 week later, on August 13th, Jay calls Ariana 5 minutes before she's about to start her first tour ever and breaks up with her. She is visibly upset during these performances, and she later apologizes to fans who wanted to meet her after the show because she's just too sad to come out of her hotel room. But hang on. What's this? On August 19th, Ariana releases a song with Nathan Sykes from The Wanted. You know, that band that was supposed to rival One Direction and then literally Thanos evaporated off the face of the earth? Together, they released Almost Is Never Enough for the Hogwarts incest fanfiction movie, The Mortal Instruments. We were really just doing whatever in 2013. They are promoting the song like crazy. Nathan and Ariana are constantly performing together, and of course, dating rumors are flying. Initially, they deny these rumors until Ariana and Nathan are spotted holding hands at Disneyland. When Nathan and Ariana confirm their relationship, Luke Brooks, brother of Jay Brooks, gets back in the ring and tweets, no, Ariana. He's Australian, so you have to pronounce it correctly for the pun to work. I think I nailed it. Ariana responds, I was raised to never speak poorly or spread false rumors about anybody, sending light and kindness to everyone in my path. Now, what could that be referring to? Well, Janoskian fans at this time start circulating what appears to be text between Luke Brooks and a fan where Luke accuses Ariana of cheating on Jay with Mac Miller and then again with Nathan. But again, these texts are not confirmed even to be real, let alone the accusation. Ariana might be sending love and light, but Frankie is not going to let this fly. Frankie said, "Anybody who believes this rumor about my sister needs to pause, open their eyes, and remember how much she loved him. He crushed her with a phone breakup, and to see Ari that miserable broke my heart. It was a sad time for us all." After that, things are quiet for 2 weeks, until on October 7th of 2013, what would have been their 1-year anniversary, Jay posts this historic twit longer. It's far too long to read the whole thing, but let me just read you some of the highlights. "Yes, I was cheated on. Yes, it does suck. Yes, I was left for another man. And this happens every day to many people of every age, gender, and race. I happen to be one of those people, and I'm in a situation where I'm constantly reminded of it every day. Nathan may be a top bloke or a sweet person, but what he did was just completely wrong. He interfered with my life and did not respect my relationship. His actions caused me to not be able to sleep at night and not see the world as a beautiful place. Nathan, if you read this, when you hold her hand, you better hold it tight, because you are looking at my world. I do wish you two happiness and a good life, and hope everything works out. Today was supposed to be our 1-year anniversary, but instead, I'm writing this. Do you know how this shit makes me feel? How crushed it makes me feel? But I'm doing this to protect myself from the endless hate I am getting, and for those who have lost respect for me, when I have done nothing wrong. Like I said, this post does make me feel like shit, but I feel it's the best thing for me. I'm looking out for myself. Thank you, everyone. Here is to a great life." Oh man, this is the kind of thing that you're meant to like write to yourself and then immediately burn it and repress deep down. But what a treat to have this just out in public. Actually, the link to this tweet longer is fully still available on his Twitter. I realize I could be more empathetic here, but also this is a man who made his whole career off of being a public menace, only to then take a hard stance on all lives matter in 2020, so I have a hard time taking him seriously. Ariana denies these cheating rumors and said that she knew that this is exactly what he would do. Allegedly, Jay told her that if she didn't take him back, he would go out of his way to make her look horrible in public, and look what's happened.
How do I feel about it? I feel like how he handled it was a bit unexpected, but at the end of the day, my family and my friends and my true fans know the kind of person that I am, and those kinds of accusations being thrown at me are completely false and more than anything, just hurtful and shocking.
But anyways, in May of 2014, Ariana and Jay are spotted kissing at the iHeart Music Awards. Oh, what happened to Nathan? I mean, what happened to the Wanted generally? We may never know. Jay and Ariana do eventually break up for good in July of 2014. I really can't emphasize enough how wild it was to witness Ariana half-heartedly playing a role on a Nickelodeon sitcom, having a messy public relationship with a YouTuber, and becoming a huge pop star all at once. I don't think Ariana slept once in the year of 2013. It's like just not possible. And on top of that, we also saw the first real dramatic shift in Ariana's appearance during this era too. Usually in this time, Ariana had like light brown hair styled half up, half down. But this is when Ariana really started to develop what would become the iconic ponytail. And the thing is, this look really didn't come around by choice. Ariana's hair was fried from constantly dyeing it bright red over the years. When she was filming Victorious, she was dyeing her hair at least every 2 weeks. When she filmed the Way music video, she went from bright red to brown, right back to bright red, all within a month. Her hair was toast at this point, so a ponytail and extensions were really the only option that made Ariana feel confident and separate from the cat character she was so closely associated with at that point. She's also since talked about how her big over-the-top ponytail is sort of a way to divide the Ariana persona with Ariana the person. She actually has naturally dark curly hair that she's never really incorporated into any of her looks or any of her eras.
My real hair, which is the humongous curly poof, is kind of, I don't know, I So few people get to see it, and it's cute, and it reminds me of me as a kid, and it reminds me of, you know, it's who I am privately. Like you said, the hair for me is such a guard character facade type thing, and it's had its own evolution, but it has always been like this kind of like costume piece.
The way she talks about the ponytail, it almost seems like it's like a drag persona for her, and it seems like a way that she just generally copes with being in the public eye, on top of that being now a huge part of her brand. The fact that one of the most basic hairstyles out there makes you think of her, heck, just like rolling your sleeves over your fingers. I'm not wearing long sleeves, so I can't demonstrate it. You know, though. All of that just shows how prolific she's been over this past decade. Even though Ariana's look has changed over the years, and at times in questionable ways, we'll get there, she has always been incredibly smart, I think, in the way that she markets herself from the beginning. But Ariana's meteoric rise to fame is, of course, not without controversy. After all, what's the point in having a new, young female pop star if we can't resent their overexposure for just a little bit? On an unrelated note, someone check in on Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Roan and make sure they're okay. Ariana was never shy about her big diva inspirations like Destiny's Child, Whitney Houston, and of course, Mariah Carey. Vocally, the Mariah comparisons have always been there, and I guess we as a society think, okay, if you can sing a whistle note, you must also be like a terrible person. It's balancing in that way. Ariana would be too powerful if she could sing like that and say please and thank you all at once. I remember in high school hearing rumors that Ariana had to be carried around by her security team and she like refused to walk anywhere. And when I went back to research this, I was like, surely that was some sort of telephone miscommunication, or I misremembered that or exaggerated that. But no, there were actual articles coming out at the time claiming Ariana did not want to walk and was only carried by her security team. There were also plenty of rumors at this time that she was rude to fans, that she refused to be photographed on her left side. Okay, that one might actually be true because look at this clip. Supposedly, all of Hollywood cowered in fear over Miss 5'1" Ariana Grande. And it turns out there may actually be a reason these rumors about Ariana were so prolific at the time. And do you want to guess what or who might have caused this? Come on, you've watched the channel at this point, you know. It's Perez. It's always Perez. In October of 2020, when Perez wasn't busy, harassing Charli D'Amelio, Perez Hilton published his memoir, TMI, My Life in Scandal. In this memoir, Perez mentioned that he met Ariana Grande for the first time in 2011, when she was just 18 years old, and heard that she was looking for someone to manage her. Perez thought he was perfect for the job, but Ariana chose to work with someone else. I can't imagine why. Perez Hilton, in his own memoir, claims that he took this so personally that he decided for years of his career that he would fuel absolutely any petty rumor about Ariana he heard. This included more innocuous things like lifting up Victoria Justice as the next it girl, inserting himself into Jeanette McCurdy's parody of Ariana, to viciously and repeatedly tweeting out accusations that Ariana was on Coca-Cola and that her outfit was boring. Let's not forget that part. History really is doomed to repeat itself with that man, isn't it? In August of 2014, Ariana released her second album, My Everything, and scientists are still trying to figure out how she's sitting on that chair. The photographer did release other shots of Ariana with the stool from that day to disprove the Photoshop claims, but to me, this is absolutely meaningless. Release the raw photos or I will not accept this. I can barely sit like that on this chair, and they just expect me to believe that she's levitating like that? It's been a decade and I'm still not over it, clearly. This was a big time for Ariana Grande. The ponytail has reached new heights. She's got collabs with Childish Gambino, The Weeknd, Nicki Minaj, Big Sean. She's got that iconic side-to-side choreography. The local H&Ms were well fed with Ariana's music at that time. Right before the album drops, Ariana is spotted singing The Purge with Big Sean. Now, as we know, he was featured on the album and they'd worked together in the past, so maybe they're just friends. But then pictures come out of Ariana and Sean kissing on the Mummy ride at Orlando Studios. Ariana can't escape the theme park adult allegations. Now, this relationship, all things considered, was fairly quiet. They break up in 2015, but in 2016, Big Sean's ex-fiancée, Naya Rivera, released her tell-all memoir that paints the relationship in a very different light. First of all, rest in peace, Naya, and if you haven't read this memoir, it's one of the best celebrity memoirs I've read. Actually, Jeanette McCurdy's also one of the top ones now that I'm talking about that. Maybe I should cover it on my Patreon because we do love to talk about a good memoir over there, or we could talk about Perez's if y'all hate me, up to you. Naya is not afraid to name names, give details, and this story is no exception. Now, Naya and Big Sean had a very fast relationship. They announced their engagement 6 months after dating in October of 2013, but they had a lot of problems. In her memoir, Naya describes a time where her and Sean are fighting, and Sean says, "Hey, I'm in LA, but I don't want to see you and definitely do not come over to my house right now." Now, of course, Naya does what any rational person would do with that information and goes right over to his house. Naya says, "I walk in, go downstairs, and guess what little girl is sitting cross-legged on my couch listening to music? It rhymes with Smariana Schmonday." Now, Naya and Big Sean don't call off their engagement until April of 2014, so this could have been in between Ariana breaking up with Nathan and getting back together with Jay, but of course we don't know for sure, all alleged. Even though this is about as direct as an accusation can get from Naya, in 2016 I feel like this really didn't make that much of a splash, and same with the Jay Brooks cheating allegations. None of this is really reached beyond chronically online individuals who also go on to forget about it a few weeks later. Not the case, however, with her next scandal. On July 8th of 2015, TMZ released footage that would change the course of history. While thousands of hardworking Americans went about their day, Ariana Grande licked a donut. In this leaked security footage, Ariana is seen with donuts left on the counter of a local donut shop, licking them not once, but twice. Her boyfriend at the time, Ricky, also licks one, but honestly, who cares about that part? Oh, I'm sorry, is biological warfare not okay these days? These snowflakes and their germ theory. If you think that's crazy, just wait for what she says next. I'm sorry, Ariana, is it not your own patriotic American spirit that compelled you to lick that donut in the first place? Licking things that don't belong to you is as American a pastime as sweeping the Summer Olympics. It's what we do. I'm sure I don't have to tell y'all that this was Watergate for the 2010 pop girlies. I mean, it was literally called Donutgate. This scandal also had a fun second level that perhaps y'all experienced too. See, I was very strictly vegan at the time of this scandal, and Ariana was like one of the 3 vegan celebrities I knew at the time, yet she had the gall, the audacity to lick 2 non-vegan donuts like it was nothing. You already know this gave Freely the Banana Girl content for weeks, including Ariana Grande licking other people's donuts. My reaction. Warning, graphic. Okay, so obviously I wanted that screenshot up to show you the video Freely made because I thought it was funny. But then when I was editing this video, I couldn't find it anywhere. And the only thing I could find was an unlisted other video Freely made called Ariana Grande is a donut eating flake. And it's unlisted. So I think Freely must have sensed with her vegan spider senses that I was going to briefly mention her video and went and like mass unlisted all of her videos like harassing celebrities for not eating like her. So you'll just have to take my word on that, I guess, unless anybody else knows where that video went. The vegan community fully went like Brita from Community. They can excuse contaminating a small business, but they draw the line at animal cruelty. Now, don't get me wrong. What Ariana did was feral. Don't do that. However, I don't think it anywhere near justified the enraged reaction it got. But because this was such an earth-shattering scandal, we needed an equally serious and shattering statement from Miss Ariana Grande. I am extremely proud to be an American, and I've always made it clear that I love my country. What I said in a private moment with my friend who was buying the donuts was taken out of context, and I'm sorry for not using more discretion with my choice of words. As an advocate for healthy eating, food is very important to me, and I sometimes get upset by how freely we as Americans eat and consume things without giving any thought to the consequences it has on our health and society as a whole. The fact The fact that the United States has the highest child obesity rate in the world frustrates me. We need to do more to educate ourselves and our children about the dangers of overeating and the poison that we put into our bodies. We need to demand more from our food industry. Ariana, you're the one who licked the donuts, not the fat children of America. Despite Ariana's attempts to assure Michelle Obama that, hey, she hates fat kids just as much as the next patriot, Ariana was unfortunately uninvited from her White House performance, and countless brand deals and appearances had to be scrapped. Not even her follow-up video apology made while high from her wisdom teeth surgery could redeem her.
I just wanted to make a video to apologize again for the whole donut fiasco and craziness, because I feel like the apology that I posted, I like kind of missed my opportunity to actually sincerely apologize and express how I was feeling, because I was too busy preaching about my issues with the food industry, which is like not, I feel like, relative. I feel like I could have expressed myself in a different way. So here I am, apologizing again. I've actually never been prouder to be an American.
As if things weren't bad enough, because of the security footage, the donut shop was investigated by their local health department and found to be in violation of the health code, moving their health rating from an A to a B. Now, how do I say this without victim blaming? Boy, that's a question that I just asked. I don't think I can, so I'm just gonna say they did leave the donuts out there in front of the customers when they weren't supposed to. Yes, we all understand that Ariana should not have licked the donuts, but there's also a reason that food is kept behind glass in like coffee shops. It's to keep them safe from Ariana specifically. I mean, she really can't be stopped at this point. So beyond some perfume releases, a brief cameo in Scream Queens, and a donut licking apology tour, we didn't hear much from Ariana for a while. That is until May of 2016, when Ariana released Dangerous Woman, which gave us one of my favorite Ariana looks. That being said, I feel like this album really isn't remembered outside of its singles, and it was actually her only album to debut at number 2 instead of number 1. You lick one donut and people just won't let it go. Also in the summer of 2016, Ariana is seen multiple times hanging out with Mac Miller. They play Pokemon Go together, they go to Disneyland together. Seriously, why is no one talking about how Ariana Grande stole Jojo Siwa's move? They're also spotted at a tattoo parlor together, and these photos will forever remind me of that fake Ariana stan account, Dorothy, that tweeted from her fridge because she was grounded. Free Dorothy. And in September of 2016, Ariana confirms that the two are officially dating. This is pretty exciting for fans because people love Mac Miller, and a lot of fans had been shipping them since their first collab in 2012. And to be quite honest with you, I fully thought that they had been dating since the Way music video. Clearly I was not paying attention. Okay, so unfortunately we need to pause on the silly celebrity gossip for a second. While Ariana was on her Dangerous Woman tour in Manchester, England on May 22nd of 2017, a bomber detonated a homemade bomb, killing 22 people and injuring hundreds of others, many of whom were young children. I mean, it's a devastating event that hundreds of people still live with the consequences of to this day. When this happened, Ariana immediately canceled the rest of her tour, and on June 4th, just 2 weeks later, she returned to Manchester for a televised benefit concert to honor the victims and raise money for families. Fans who had attended the original Manchester concert were invited at no cost, and the event raised $23 million for the victims and their families. The strength that must have taken to perform again, just generally, but to go back just 2 weeks later, I mean, I can't imagine that. And obviously for the people who lost loved ones, who were permanently injured, it's unbelievable. Ariana was very open about her trauma from this incident and began working with a therapist to specifically treat her PTSD after this event.
I was saying that you went and had sat and had therapy and have really been working through recovering from what took place in Manchester with your fans, with your family, with yourself. And was that song that important to put out some of that energy and let people know that we're all working to get well?
Yeah, you know, it's just about like just being there for each other and like helping each other through scary times and like anxiety and, you know, some dark shit out there, man.
It is.
So we just have to like
be there for each other as much as we can, because you never fucking know, you know?
But in the interviews I read and watched where she talks about this, she makes it very clear that she does not want to be centered in this story, which is reportedly why she declined to receive honorary damehood from the British government, despite being offered that. Mac Miller was reportedly a big support to Ariana during this time, and he also performed at the benefit concert. When Ariana released her comeback single, No Tears Left to Cry, in 2018, Mac tweeted out in support of her, and shortly after, Ariana performed at Coachella with Mac. But in May of 2018, Ariana announces via her Instagram story that her and Mac have parted ways. From the story, you can see they still have a lot of love for each other. She says that he is one of her best friends and favorite people, and although they still love and support each other, they are no longer in a romantic relationship. Shortly afterwards, Pete Davidson and Ariana are reportedly seen flirting at an SNL after party, and people notice that Pete has a new cloud tattoo that matches the cloud emoji Ariana posted to Instagram just a few days before, which is very Larry Stylinson of them. But also, I would honestly love to know just how many cover-ups Pete has had over the years, because I swear, this man gets at a minimum 10 tattoos for each relationship he's in. And on May 18th of 2018, the news officially breaks that Pete and Ariana are dating, and it's reportedly very casual. Remember that. Now, for a lot of people, this was the world's first introduction to Pete Davidson, and you either got it or you didn't. Cancel me for saying this, but I do. I see the vision. I saw it then, I see it now. Ariana and Pete had interacted before. Ariana was actually a musical guest the first time Pete started performing on Saturday Night Live in 2014. But according to Ariana, they didn't actually speak that time. They did, however, reunite on SNL in 2016. And even though they were both in relationships at that time, Ariana could sense a little bit of a vibe. And clearly that energy was brewing for a while, because these two, the second they go public, they are the amusement park couple final boss. They are all over each other's Instagram comments. They're posting pictures in matching Harry Potter robes. They're posting this on their Snapchat stories. We as a society need to bring back celebrity Snapchat stories, because you simply don't get this kind of feral behavior on Instagram. On June 3rd of 2018, Ariana reveals that they have taken their casual relationship to the next level with a giant $93,000 ring. During this time, we also get this iconic picture. It belongs in a museum. They also adopt a pig together named Piggy Smalls, and he has his own Instagram account, of course. Also, I feel like you need to know this. Right after their engagement, Ariana takes Pete to Disneyland, because that's what she does, and briefly posts a video of him screaming on Thunder Mountain with the caption, "When I get on top." Also during this time, in August of 2018, Ariana releases Sweetener, which is her first album to get a Grammy. And this album is so weird to talk about because its era was cut incredibly short, so its success is really overshadowed by the behemoth that was Ariana's personal life in the later half of 2018. But I think at the time, Sweetener was meant to signal Ariana's transition into a more serious pop star, where she didn't just want to make like a series of singles that weren't really about anything. With Sweetener, it felt like she actually had like a unifying sound and vision for the album. Also, the album had a song called Pete Davidson, and leading up to the release, someone asked, "How long is Pete?" Not like that, I mean. And Ariana responded, "Like 10 inches? Oh, I mean, a little over a minute." Anyways, but things are far from perfect in their relationship. For one, fans find out that before Pete and Ariana started dating, Pete had actually made a joke about the Manchester attacks in one of his shows. A real zinger, I'm sure. And on a totally unrelated note, Pete completely wipes his Instagram and says, "No, there's nothing wrong. Nothing's happened. I just don't want to be on Instagram anymore." From your neighborhood goon, Pete. Is that what we're calling it? All that aside, Ariana and Pete are still out there full PDA. But on September 7th of 2018, Mac Miller passes away from an accidental overdose at just 26 years old. Mac had publicly struggled with addiction for some time, but this was a shock to everyone, including Ariana. Ariana posted a tribute to Mac, and she has since described her grief of him during this time as all-consuming. And again, I can't imagine grieving that loss while still very much experiencing the PTSD from Manchester. And he was so young and loved by everyone, like it's beyond heartbreaking. Pete later said in an interview in 2020 that he knew the relationship was over when Mac died. Pete and Ariana initially announced that they would be taking a step back from social media to work on their relationship, but on October 14th of 2018, it was reported that Ariana and Pete had broken up for good. I think it's hard for any relationship to survive a loss like that, but especially when their relationship was so young and so intense, it feels like it was kind of doomed from the start, really. After their breakup, Pete Davidson is of course still working on SNL, doing some promo with Jonah Hill and Maggie Rogers.
I'm Jonah Hill and I'm hosting Saturday Night Live this week with musical guest Maggie Rogers.
Hey Maggie, I'm Pete.
Hey, Pete.
You want to get married?
No.
0 for 3.
This clip gets picked up as like some big scandal, but honestly, like most SNL promos, it's more cringy than anything. It's a diss at Ariana if you squint, I guess. But the thing is, Ariana was about to start one of her most iconic eras, and she needed an opener to promo that. So she tweets out, "For someone who claims to hate relevancy, you sure love clinging to it, huh? Thank you, next." Then, 2 days later, 30 minutes before Saturday Night goes live, Ariana drops "Thank you, next" with absolutely no official announcement, changing the culture. Just like that. I think whether you're a fan of Ariana or not, like you can't deny the power and impact of this song. Ariana had been plenty famous up until this point, but this song I think is really what cemented Ariana as a pop icon. I think for one, it's a song very reminiscent of some of Taylor Swift's best work, where yes, it's a good song on its own, but it's made iconic by the knowledge of her public life that led to this song. This song takes this horrible time in Ariana's public life, the tragic loss of Mac Miller, the cringy relationship with Pete Davidson and their inevitable downfall, her year at the front and center of celebrity gossip, and paints it all as a learning lesson, something she's really grateful for. I think it's expected for a pop girl in the face of public humiliation to come out with some sort of FU song or an ABCDEFU song, or they go the other route and do some sort of heartbreaking ballad, but instead this song really feels like a tribute to her past relationships and experiences, and at the time that felt so refreshing. And not only is the song a tribute to her past, so is the music video. The music video references 4 iconic movies from Ariana's childhood with cameos from her real-life friends, collaborators, her victorious castmates, and Colleen Ballinger for some reason.
One time on Twitter, I heard Ariana was pregnant, so I got pregnant so we could be pregnant at the same time. Turns out it was just a rumor.
I can't say the video is perfect. I mean, there is one very special someone missing from it. I think we all know that.
Like, I actually don't know. I feel like I hate saying this because then everyone on Twitter is like, "You're lying, I hate you." I was supposed to be in the video. No,
But you know, it's pretty dang close. The music video even references the conspiracy that Ariana came out as a lesbian with this song.
I heard she's a lesbian now and dating some chick called Aubrey. It's fucking sick.
Because in the second verse, Ariana says, "Plus I met someone else, we're having better discussions. I know they say I move on too fast, but this one go last, cause her name is Ari. And I'm so good with that." Except it didn't sound like she said Ari, it very much sounds like she said Audrey.
Her name is Aubrey, and I'm so good with that.
Because even though Ariana was first and foremost a Broadway girly, diction has like never been her strong suit. So people for a solid 2 weeks were convinced that Ariana was just dating a woman named Audrey now. Who's Audrey? We may never know. This song and this video was everywhere, and it's still iconic today. Even though Ariana was still fully in the middle of promoting the Sweetener Era, people were invested in Thank You Next. The next music video from this era went somehow even more viral than the last, but was not nearly as universally praised. And that, of course, was Seven Rings. The song Seven Rings was inspired by a time Ariana was having a little retail therapy with her friends after the breakup. Ariana went to Tiffany Tiffany's, and drunk off the champagne they gave her, she bought 7 engagement rings for her and her friends. And being the theater kid that she is, she co-wrote a song about flexing how rich she is that she bought 7 Tiffany rings while sampling The Sound of Music. This song is not one of my faves, but also I do still tend to sing it to myself when capitalism brain rot gets to me and I get a bunch of stuff I don't need. But this song, and the music video especially, was also kind of the culmination of a controversy that had been following Ariana for some time. And that's that little thing called cultural appropriation. 7 Rings is in part an R&B song, a hip-hop song, a rap song with visuals that also pull heavily from that genre. Ariana in the music video, as spray-tanned as ever, alternates between singing in a style reminiscent of Beyonce to rapping in a flow that 3 different Black artists' voice was plagiarism of their work. The most controversial line in the song, "You like my hair? Gee, thanks. Just bought it," was also a blatant reminder to many that the purchasing of hair extensions, while uncontroversial for white women like Ariana, is a charged topic for Black women. Ariana, however, seemed to have a different interpretation or meaning behind that line. After the song was released, Ariana reposted someone else quoting the line who said, "White women talking about their weaves is how we're gonna solve racism." I think this person was like being sarcastic and snarking, and Ariana just took it seriously. Now, maybe there is something to be said about the line destigmatizing weaves for all women. I'm probably not the authority on that, but also neither was Ariana Grande, because she quickly deleted this repost and wrote, "I think her intention was to be like, yay, a white person disassociating the negative stereotype that is paired with the word weave. However, I'm so sorry if my response was out of pocket or if it came across the wrong way. It's never my intention to offend anybody." But even outside that one line, it is hard to ignore that Ariana's 7 Rings is so evocative of Black artists that do, yes, have songs flexing their wealth, but that flexing is meant to be like aspirational when those artists themselves came from nothing, on top of facing the adversity of being a Black artist existing in the world. Ariana was born a wealthy white woman, and she's now an even wealthier white woman. There's no contrast or humility in there. It's the aesthetics of a genre totally devoid of its context, which is exactly where cultural appreciation turns into cultural appropriation. And yes, I do think that in the context of the entire Thank You Next album, 7 Rings is meant to sound more like a cry for help. The whole album is her talking about the different destructive behaviors she engages in while grieving, but this was released as a standalone single, so you're also not going to get that context, so I don't know where to land on that one. That also isn't even acknowledging the criticism she drew for her use of East Asian culture, again for aesthetic purposes in this video. The opening of the music video includes 7 rings written in kanji. In the music video, she's seen eating sushi, and her hair is styled in hair palms very reminiscent of Japanese fashion at the time. This is also a very sexual music video, which is fine on its own, of course. But with the imagery that she's using, it does also play into the fetishization and sexualization of Asian and Black women. And to tie all of this together, Ariana got a classic white person tattoo. She got the words 7 rings in Japanese kanji written on her hand. But that kanji wasn't written out correctly and instead read out to be something along the lines of smelly Japanese barbecue. Or maybe that is what she wanted to have on her hand. That would have been a choice, but there you go. What's crazy to me is Ariana actually did have a Japanese tutor who had been working with her since 2015. But Ariana didn't know how to read and write in kanji yet, so she seemingly just got this tattoo straight off Google Translate and didn't text her Japanese tutor until after the internet flamed her for the misspelling. She did technically get it fixed, but it's my understanding, as someone who again doesn't read Japanese, so I don't know, it's my understanding that it's still not fully correct. And to be very clear, this criticism is about a lot more than just the 7 Rings music video. This criticism has been around for years, is still around today, and there's a reason for that. Even though Ariana and Nicki may be the same shade performing side to side together, Ariana can stop spray tanning, stop using AAVE when it's advantageous to her. When she wants to be taken more seriously as an actor, as an artist, maybe when she's married and her brand is seen as more domestic, suddenly she's not mistaken for a Black or Latina woman. Using these aesthetics when it's convenient and erasing them when it's not, that is the white privilege. Because while she may at times adopt the aesthetics of different cultures, she doesn't face the discrimination that those cultures inevitably face. And if you adopt the aesthetics of another culture without knowing the proper context, don't do so correctly, you can turn that cultural idea into a laughingstock. Like, say, getting a 7 rings tattoo that actually says smelly Japanese barbecue. This era where she's accused of stealing from Black, Asian, even queer artists, it is also easily one of her most successful to date. It debuted at #1, broke multiple streaming records, but despite this album's just sheer breakaway success at the time, Ariana also seemed just deeply unwell. And of course that is to be expected given all that she had gone through in the past 2 years. In any interview I could find from this time, when she talks about how the album Thank You Next was written, she basically just talks about being drunk the entire time. And it's played for laughs in a way that, drinking very often is, but genuinely a lot of these interviews are not easy to watch.
I know personally for me, the body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body. I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest point of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy.
And not to mention there's also plenty of times where she's visibly distraught while performing the songs from this album. Thank You Next was able to turn tragedies and controversy into a landmark album, but I don't think any person could possibly maintain that level of public turmoil and scrutiny forever. And so the next few years of Ariana's life, even though she was doing plenty of things publicly, it felt a lot quieter. Of course, maybe that wasn't even intentional because, 2020 was like a quiet year for a lot of people, but you get my point. In early 2020, Ariana was spotted at a bar kissing a man. Who is this man? Well, he's a man. His name is Dalton Gomez. He's a luxury real estate agent, and that is literally all the internet seems to know about this guy. He briefly appears in Ariana and Justin Bieber's music video for Stuck With You. Then Ariana and Lady Gaga release Rain on Me, the song of the summer. I know there wasn't much competition going on, but still. And once again, Dalton is in the background in one of her promo posts for this song. In October of 2020, Ariana released Positions. And while it's definitely a happier album than Thank You Next, I don't feel like it did much new that Sweetener and Thank You Next hadn't already done. And of course, this era isn't going to be as well defined as the others because she wasn't touring, she was just minding her business at home this year. Bryce Hall did briefly try to get into a Twitter fight with her, but she's Ariana Grande, she doesn't need to be doing all that. In 2021, Ariana launched REM Beauty, a celebrity makeup line. Groundbreaking. Listen, I know I had a lot of praise for Halsey's makeup line, which was released around the same time, but I felt like Halsey's aesthetic, brand, and demographic at least kind of filled a gap in an oversaturated makeup space. When I think of Ariana Grande's makeup, I just think brown? At times too brown. Winged eyeliner, nude lips, nothing that hasn't been done to death in the makeup industry. And I also find the branding of this line very confusing because the name is REM, presumably a reference to her song REM, which is from Sweetener. But the initial branding and packaging was very 60s retro future and space themed, which is much more similar to her most recent album, Positions, not Sweetener. To me, this brand just seemed so scattered and all over the place. But then again, I feel like I generally hear good things about this brand. I don't know if I know anyone who's actually used it, but influencers say it's good and they never lie to me. I don't know, have any of y'all tried it? Is it good? It's an enigma to me. But hey, this brand was way more successful than I thought it was gonna be, which in hindsight, pretty silly I thought this was gonna flop when she's still Ariana Grande at the end of the day. She could slap her name on most things and it would sell. Then at the end of 2020, right before she releases her Netflix documentary, Ariana announces that her and Dalton are engaged. Ariana and Dalton get married in a small private ceremony at their home in 2021, which, by the way, I always love small private ceremonies of celebrities where Vogue magazine is there the whole time. Just their closest lifelong friends, family, and, Vogue magazine. But I do have to say the aesthetic of this wedding, incredible. This broke the record for most Instagram likes on a picture, and for good reason. The vibes are right. But the best part of Miss Grande's 2021, according to me, is in November of 2021 when it was announced that she and Cynthia Erivo will lead the production of the Wicked movies as Glinda and Elphaba. I would like to apologize in advance for the person I become when these movies come out. Like, are you kidding me? Not everyone was, of course, pleased with this casting decision. Taylor Louderman from the Broadway Mean Girls musical posted a selfie crying, presumably because she did not get the role of Glinda. Honestly, me too. John Chu, I'm sure it's not too late. Put me in, coach. But more broadly, a lot of people were unsure whether Miss Ariana Grande could catch the vocals and style of Glinda, because people so quickly forget that Ariana has been manifesting this role like her entire life. She got her start on Broadway. She killed it in Hairspray Live. This woman can sing a show tune, there's no doubt about that. And Ariana has been publicly professing her love for Wicked since she became a public figure. And as she should.
Wicked? Is that different though?
That's very different. Oh, that's very different. Yeah, that's very different. I'd do anything.
Elphaba.
I don't want to talk about it because I'm gonna cry and like I would do anything. I would do anything to play Elfie.
Broadway girl, of course, you must love Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you have dreamed of playing one of the two roles. Would you be Elphaba or Glinda? You'd be Glinda.
For sure.
Her debut album included Popular Song featuring Micah, which sampled the iconic Wicked song. She sang The Wizard and I at Wicked's 15th anniversary. Ariana has had Mark Platt, father of Ben Platt, on speed dial begging for this audition for years. And even if that wasn't true, I've heard the leaks of her singing. I've seen the trailers. She's going to devour, and I have no doubt about that. Yes, she may have rocked the production of Wicked with a scandal unlike any other, but in this instance, I am choosing to separate the art from the artist because I need these movies. What if every video I make from here on out is just me shamelessly failing to get on the Wicked PR list? I mean, who am I kidding? This video is not doing me any favors on that front, but I can try. 2022, for the most part, is a very quiet year for Ariana. Outside of cosplaying as an Asian woman, not much is happening. Every time I see this photo, I just think of James Charles's flashback Mary look. Like, that's what this is giving me. There is also some speculation in August of 2022 that Ariana and Dalton are having some marital problems when Ariana is seen on social media without her wedding ring. But pretty shortly afterwards, she clarifies in a video that they're totally fine, y'all. Nothing to see here.
I'm just not wearing my ring. It's getting cleaned. I'm not getting a divorce. Before you start, don't.
And me, the fool, I believed her. Finally, in December of 2022, history is made. Fresh off his Coney musical, John Chu begins filming the Wicked movies. Not only do we have Ariana and Cynthia, but we also have Jonathan Bailey, aka Anthony Bridgerton, as Fiyero, and Ethan Slater as Bach. Now, Ethan Slater was big news on Broadway a few years back when, as a total newcomer, he played the role of SpongeBob SquarePants in SpongeBob the Musical on Broadway. Now, would you believe that when this project was announced, people had absolutely zero expectations for SpongeBob the Musical, but this musical honestly became like a sleeper hit, and a lot of that was credited to Ethan's performance. He just really embodies this happy little sea sponge. Even though Ethan was vaguely Broadway famous, to most people he was just some mildly goofy looking guy. He was married to his high school sweetheart, they just had a baby, he's just landed this Broadway classic role in a huge movie production. I mean, this was Ethan's big moment. Boy, it'd be a shame if he did something to mess that up. Well, on July 16th of 2023, Ariana is spotted with Anthony Bridgerton at Wimbledon without her wedding ring. Also, Andrew Garfield and Tom Hiddleston are just there. Now, this is the first time the public has seen Ariana in months, and of course, people immediately notice that there's no ring. But also, people see that she looks good, happy even. Is there possibly some chemistry between her and Jonathan Bailey? Well, no. Jonathan Bailey is still gay no matter how many times I rewatched that Getting Out of the Lake scene in season 2. But just 3 days after the world found out that Ariana and Dalton were done, People magazine publishes an article saying Ariana Grande is now dating her Wicked co-star, Ethan Slater. A source told People magazine that Ariana and Dalton had quietly separated in January of that year and that Ethan is now separated from his wife. But this is the internet. People are not just going to blindly accept this timeline of events. People start going back through both of their Instagrams and notice that on May 14th, barely 2 months ago, Ethan Slater posted a Mother's Day tribute to his wife, which Ariana allegedly liked at the time. More reports then come out alleging Ariana and Ethan were all over each other at an Oscars party, which would have been in March of that year, that they would hold hands and kiss in between takes on set. Seemingly, everyone on set knew about this relationship, but Wicked was filmed in London. While there was very heavy COVID protocol, Ethan's wife with a newborn and Ariana's husband, who lived in Los Angeles, would not have been around most of that time to witness any of this. One source told Insider, Ethan sat Lily down a few days before the news broke out about him and Ariana and said that he wanted a divorce. Lily never saw it coming. Although most inside sources do claim that Ethan and Ariana were separated from their current partners when they started dating, even in the most generous of timelines, we're talking about a few weeks to maybe a few months in between these marriages and this relationship with SpongeBob. And it doesn't make either one of them look great in the public. But the real bomb drops when Lily J, Ethan's estranged wife, says Ariana's the story, not a girl's girl. My family is just collateral damage. Man, supposedly you break up one family and then you're not a girl's girl anymore? There were also reports that Ariana and Dalton and Ethan and Lily had went on double dates, that Ariana held Ethan's newborn baby. And I should say, Ariana and Ethan are both culpable if this is all true. But to me, Ethan seems way slimier in this scenario when he has a newborn son and a wife of 10 years. But people also don't have a parasocial relationship with Ethan the way people do with Ariana, where they develop this belief that Ariana is a good person who would never do something like this. And to be honest, on a personal level, I had a hard time being scandalized by this news when it was happening, because while yes, cheating is bad, I just kind of have this internal conspiracy theory that celebrities cheat on each other all the time and we as the public only occasionally find out about it. My expectations for celebrity relationship dynamics are already very low, so it's hard for me to be shocked or disappointed when, like, Adam Levine tells a woman who's not his wife that her body is absurd. And the same kind of went for Ariana. While a child being involved definitely makes things worse, I did not have high expectations for the woman who sang a song called Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored, but I'm sure I don't have to remind my chronically online brethren that this story was absolutely everywhere. SpongeBob SquarePants leaves wife and young child for newly single Ariana Grande. I mean, the memes write themselves. Things got so crazy that the wife of beloved SpongeBob voice actor Tom Kenny wrote in her Instagram comments, "Hi everyone, I'm married to Tom Kenny, who voices SpongeBob on the TV show. He is not dating Ariana Grande. I don't know if Ethan Slater, who played SpongeBob in the musical, is or isn't dating Ariana Grande. However, they're both adorable and I totally ship it. Just wanted to set the record straight. P.S. As for me and Tom Kenny, we are celebrating our 27th wedding anniversary today. Miss Karen Plankton, the woman that you are. I love this energy. I would also like to clarify at this time that I am not dating Ariana Grande. And in fact, Martha Stewart, Snoop Dogg, and I are celebrating our 28th anniversary today. This news story, while unconfirmed, really is the complete unraveling of Ariana's public image. Although all the things we've discussed earlier that weren't so great in her public persona have been public information for years, they hadn't really been looked at altogether, and people now start to go back and realize, hang on, Naya Rivera accused Ariana of stealing her fiancé. Cassie David accused Pete Davidson of dumping her 24 hours before going public with Ariana. Dalton's ex-girlfriend made a subtweet about Ariana stealing Dalton. Jay Brooks accused Ariana of cheating. Basically, every public relationship Ariana has been in has some sort of cheating or messy overlap allegation attached to it. Now, if that's all true, is Ariana the sole perpetrator in any of that? Of course not. If these stories are true, there are multiple wrongdoers here. Ariana wasn't forcing anyone to leave their significant others for her. But in the peak of this drama, this all starts to look like a pattern of behavior that warrants criticism. Even if there wasn't cheating, moving on so quickly from two serious relationships publicly like that, it's not a very kind thing to do considering both of their previous long-term partners. But I also have to wonder, if Ethan Slater wasn't SpongeBob SquarePants? If he, for example, looked like Jonathan Bailey, would people care? Again, I suppose the punishment fits the crime, like leaving your wife and newborn for a pop star, but people have dragged every inch of this man's body. How could Ariana leave this man for this man? This is not a defense of them. They both did a bad thing. But I also think some of y'all forget that Ariana has always liked them a little goofy looking. Like, I would say Big Sean is really the exception, but she has always liked a goofy little goober. I mean, I was watching interviews with her from like 2013, and when someone asked who her first celebrity crush was, she said Jim Carrey and Seth Rogen.
I still love Jim Carrey. I love Steve Carell, Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, the funny guys.
Wow.
I love those guys, yeah.
So like
Yeah, like silly, funny, awkward boys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love boys who can make a fool of themselves and don't take themselves seriously.
All I'm saying is that the signs were there. We should have seen this coming. After the chaos of that initial news cycle, there are rumors that Ariana and Ethan have broken up, that they're maybe laying low. But no, pretty quickly they're spotted together plenty of times, including at Ariana's old stomping ground, Disney World. They don't formally address the public, but quite honestly, that was probably the best move from a PR standpoint. Unless they were gonna say that they hadn't dated at all, Ethan and Ariana were never gonna be able to give a totally satisfactory answer for everyone. On October 7th of 2023, the divorce between Ariana and Dalton is finalized. They had a prenup, so things moved pretty quickly. Ariana, among other things, is required to pay Dalton a $1.25 million settlement upfront, and the settlement agreement also includes very strict limitations for either of them to speak publicly about what went on in their marriage. Okay, so neither Dalton or Ariana can release a tell-all memoir. That's fine. In December of 2023, Ariana posts teasers for a new album, which is a total shock to fans because Ariana had previously said that she wanted to focus on promoting Wicked throughout the film's release before working on any more music. But on January 12th of 2024, Ariana releases her first real response to the drama. Yes, and. Okay, I know I don't usually go in depth with my music reviews in these deep dives, but I in fact have a lot of thoughts on this song and music video. First of all, the homages to Paula Abdul, Madonna, love. The intro to this song goes absolutely crazy. Like, unfortunately and fortunately, I do think the beat is the best part of this song. I really hope that house music is making a return, and I think the tone, So What If I Slept With Someone's Husband, while morally very questionable, from a marketing standpoint was the right move. Like it or not, people are interested in the drama. And if you come out with a cheesy, heartfelt ballad right now, people aren't going to have sympathy. So your best bet is just to do a classic, I'm back, and I don't care what people say about me song, and hope that it's catchy enough that people will also stop caring and just listen to your music anyways. But is this song a banger? I don't think it's bad. It's definitely for the girls and the gays, but I don't think this song connected with mainstream audiences nearly as much as it needed to like repair Ari's public image. I also will say, and maybe this is me being a hater, I really don't like when pop girlies write songs being like, homophobia? Not cool. Put that lipstick on, boy. You know what else isn't cool? Criticizing me for allegedly breaking up a family with a newborn baby. Like, one of those things is not like the other. It's the same reason I don't like You Need to Calm Down. Well, one of the reasons. Sorry, Swifties, it's not a good song. Also, and this is me being real nitpicky, Ariana says, say that shit with your chest multiple times, all while using her head voice and not her chest voice. Song's still catchy though. Ariana says that she will not be releasing any more singles before the album because she wants the entire body of work to be heard in one piece, which I think again was very smart marketing on her part. So on March 8th of 2024, Ariana releases her first album in 4 years, her first concept album, Eternal Sunshine. Listen, I'm just gonna say it. When Ariana is in the most scandal, when public opinion of her is all over the place, that's when she makes the best music. Before this album, I would not classify myself as an Arianator, but this album was fantastic. I would say it's still in my top 3 for 2024, like album releases, and this was a stacked year. Listen, I wish I didn't have to say that because I certainly have criticisms of her public persona, but I mean, this is a no-skip album for me pretty much. Well, except for the Yes and remix with Mariah Carey, something went wrong there. Ariana definitely hides behind the concept album part, so who knows how much of her lyrics are based on literal truth and how much of it is fictionalized, but Ariana throughout this album paints the picture of a messy relationship with cheating on both sides. And even though that relationship ends, there's still love there. Fans do immediately start going after Dalton when the album is released, and Ariana pretty quickly releases a statement saying, hey, don't send hate messages to people that you think the album is about. Even though this album discusses a lot of pain, it also clearly has a lot of love there. And unfortunately, I kind of feel like these statements need to be like standard practice these days when artists have public relationships, because we've seen the reaction to Taylor Swift or Olivia Rodrigo albums. It's not the artist's fault by any means, but some fans just don't have an off switch and take things way too far, and we just need to get in the habit of stomping that behavior in the ground. Ariana also released the second single, We Can't Be Friends, the most popular song from the album, and again, I'm sorry, probably one of the best songs she's ever made. Not only does this song work as like a heartbreaking tribute to a past relationship, presumably Dalton, it also seems like she's speaking directly to her fans. In the song, she talks about people having this perception of her that she can't control, that she doesn't agree with. It's unexpected, but I think it really works, especially with the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind concept. She has also since released a music video for The Boy Is Mine starring Penn Badgley. Now, I said this was a no-skip album. I like the song. I think it's fine. But also, if I had to guess what Eternal Sunshine would have been before the album came out, I would have guessed that there would be some song like this. During the height of the SpongeBob drama, leaks circulated of demos Ariana had recorded at some point. They were these very 90s inspired Ari songs about fantasizing about taking someone else's man. And honestly, Fantasize goes kind of crazy. Ariana says that these songs were originally made for a Seth MacFarlane show that didn't go anywhere, and they weren't meant to be true to life. It was commissioned for the show. But Fantasize was eventually turned into The Boy Is Mine, and true story, one of the other leaks, stayed fairly similar to the original version, just with updated verses. But for me, The Boy Is Mine is here, Fantasize is here. And that's just how it is. Eternal Sunshine did pretty well. I mean, it had the misfortune of coming out like within a month of a Taylor Swift album, so like chart-wise didn't stand much of a chance. But We Can't Be Friends has continued to stay in like the top 10 for months now. Ariana's public image isn't repaired by any means, but I think everyone now kind of has the Kurt Hummel attitude of, she may be difficult, but boy can she sing. And even though, like I said, Ariana has not publicly addressed her personal life, the brief appearances she has made have still managed to drive up controversy. When Ariana went on the Zach Sang show to promote the album, fans noticed she sounded a little bit different.
And there's also a really dope, like, Picasso pillow in the background. Where's that? Mom, can I have that?
We tried to find a location that was similar to the Yes and video, and
we did it.
It's beautiful. It lacks a lot of graffiti, but it's beautiful. It's perfect.
When she went on Pod Crushed, there's a moment where you can actually see Ariana switch between her, seems to be her natural speaking voice, and this new transatlantic accent she has.
That's the only thing I thought. That's how I felt. I was like, what has happened?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I've been writing a lot, and maybe there's some more, but I would like to do a deluxe at some point.
Ariana did comment directly on this clip, saying the change was due to habit from speaking in the Glinda voice for 2 years, very Austin Butler of her, and she claimed that she has always changed her voice placement depending on how much she's singing. This statement is backed up by some earlier clips of Ariana during her Cat Valentine era, where she also spoke in a higher register and claimed it was healthier for her singing voice.
Something you haven't told anyone else today. I've been speaking in a slightly higher placement than I usually speak in because I've been doing a lot of interviews all day and I'm trying to keep my voice healthy. But it sounds a tiny bit raspy still, but I'm trying. But I usually talk like lazy and like gravelly. But I'm trying to place it healthier. But I sound like an idiot.
But this statement doesn't address the other issue that people were bringing up with this. I don't think people would care as much if Ariana just changed the pitch of her voice higher and lower over the years, but people again point out that the pitch of her voice changing over time has also accompanied much heavier use of AAVE during eras in her music where she more heavily pulled from rap, R&B, and hip-hop sounds.
I'm like, bitch, that's my cookie, that's my juice, okay? Carry on. Thank you, next. That's what this baby picture says.
Kiyomi, get your ass in here. Come on, girl.
Whereas now, when Ariana wants to be seen as a serious actress devoted to her major movie role, that AAVE is gone. She's speaking in a different pitch, and she's blonde. The spray tan is gone. And to my knowledge, Ariana has never meaningfully addressed these race fishing allegations beyond what we discussed earlier with her 7 rings statement. And at this point, I don't think she ever will. Not to mention on Pod Crush, Ariana says that one time she told little kids that if she could have dinner with anybody in the world, it would be Jeffrey Dahmer.
Years ago, before the Dahmer series, before it was in a Q&A with fans, with young fans. It was young fans at the time. It was like, I think it was like in between like me being Cat and pop stuff. So it was like a younger group. But it was with a parent. Someone said, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be? And I was like, oh, you're so cute. Who, Mom and Dad, is it okay if I give the real answer? And they were like, sure, I guess. What's the answer? And I was like, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer's pretty fascinating. I think I would have loved to have met him.
Yeah, family members of Dahmer's victims didn't love that one. Hi, it's me in different clothes again. I feel like I really start to lose my train of thought at the end of my filming sessions, so I feel like I missed some things I wanted to say. Looking at all of Ariana's career, especially in the last few years, it all just made me wonder, like, can an artist exist, like a real popular artist, without being just a little bit of a mess in public? Is that what fuels the art, or is it something different? And don't get me wrong, while I don't necessarily agree with everything Ariana has ever done in her public career, that's not to say that she hasn't also done a lot of things that I like. I mean, her music for one thing, but also I've followed her for a long time before this. I've watched countless interviews of her, and she's really funny. And also one thing I couldn't really work into this video that I really liked about Ariana is that she's far more politically vocal than I think a lot of other pop stars at her like level of fame are. She has used her platform many times to advocate for important issues, and I'll always respect things like that. And on top of that, I think it's incredibly evident at this point that she is an incredibly strong person to have suffered the losses that she has experienced in her life in the public eye on top of that, and still be able to make great music, connect with her audience. I never want these celebrity deep dives to come across like a hit piece on one particular person. Ariana Grande, like everyone else, is a complicated person who has done plenty of good and questionable things all in one package. But really, let me know what your thoughts are on this, because we certainly covered a lot of ground today. Again, I just wanted to thank the sponsor of today's video, Trainwell. You can click my link to get 14 days free with your own personal trainer, so definitely check them out. Also, for me, if you want to check more of me out, I upload a monthly bonus video on my Patreon if you want to support me on there. And we talk about a lot of things I would talk about on this channel. Like we recently talked about the bi-sister drama. We love to do like a celebrity memoir book club over there. That's really fun. I also stream on Twitch a couple times a week, and I upload all that to my second channel if you want to check that out. And if none of that interests you, that's fine. Cool. I get it. However, if you liked this video, you could feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.